clerk advised me that all members of council are present, so I will now bring the regular meeting for the purpose of a public hearing to order. The first job that I have to do is to read the preamble on the agenda. A public hearing is a statutory requirement under Section 464 of the Local Government Act and must be held before third reading of a community plan, rural land use bylaw, zoning bylaw, land use contract amendment bylaw, heritage designation bylaw, or heritage revitalization agreement bylaw, which would change the use or density of use of property. During a public hearing, council acts in a quasi-judicial role for the purpose of allowing persons who believe their interest in property is affected by a bylaw, permit, or other matter to make representations to council either orally or by written submission, or add comments or elaborate upon correspondence that may have already been presented to council concerning the bylaws. It is important to note that council is not in the position to receive any additional information on the bylaws following the public hearing as dictated by case law. The hearing procedure involves an explanation from the Community Development Division on the purpose of the proposed bylaws and to hear from individuals regarding the bylaws. In order to ensure that all interested parties have a reasonable opportunity to be heard, speakers are requested to keep representations as brief and succinct as possible and no longer than 5 minutes, excluding time required for questions from council. Speakers will be asked to state their name, neighborhood, and city for the record, and if referring to prepared remarks, to submit copies of these to the township clerk. Decorum must be maintained at all times. This includes refraining from applause, booing, or heckling. To assist with large numbers of speakers, individuals must advise the township clerk and sign the speakers list prior to the commencement of the public hearing. The names on the speakers list will be read out during the hearing. Individuals who have already addressed council and wish to add further submissions will wait until the people that have not yet addressed council have had an opportunity to speak. All submissions and speakers lists are considered part of the public record. Council members should not express their views nor debate the bylaws, but may question speakers to clarify particular points in the submissions. Council may consider third reading or third and final adoption at this meeting or at its next regular meeting to be held on Monday, February the 8th, 2021, in the Fraser River Presentation Theatre, 4th floor, 20338 65 Avenue, BC. So with that, I'll ask for a motion to adopt and receive the agenda items. Councilor Hardison moves. Second by Councilor Davis. Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you. There are no development permits, but we do have one public hearing. This is official community plan amendment and rezoning application number 100205. It's a brewery lounge endorsement application number 53, Brookswood Brewing Company Limited in 102-4061 200th Street, bylaw 5680 and 5681. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Worship. With your permission, I'll share my screen.
Please.
Is it available, Your Worship? Can you see it?
Oh, not yet. No.
Perfect. So thank you.
I don't see it.
Oh, really?
No. Doesn't come up. There we go. It's starting to come up now.
Thank you. So thank you, Your Worship. The subject, Brookswood Furniture Community Plan Amendment, rezoning, and brewery lounge endorsement applications pertain to a proposed brewery and accessory lounge at Unit 102-4061 200th Street. The overall 1.95 acre site is designated commercial village in the Brookswood Furniture Community Plan. This air photo depicts the site located on the southwest corner of 200th Street and 41st Avenue. Proposed Brookswood Furniture Community Plan Amendment Bylaw 5680 amends the commercial village land use designation on a site-specific basis to allow for brewing and distilling uses, including a lounge. Proposed rezoning bylaw 5681 amends the site community commercial C2B zoning on a site-specific basis to allow for a brewery or distillery, including a lounge. The proponent has also applied for a 70-person indoor brewery lounge. These slides indicate the overall site plan, as well as the proposed floor plan. Staff recommends support of Brookswood Furniture Community Plan Amendment and Rezoning Bylaws 5680 and 5681. Staff also recommend Council consider the brewery lounge request, and should it decide to endorse the request, consider the resolution listed on page 8 of council's agenda, time of final reading. Your worship, a total of 117 notices were mailed out, 34 written submissions have been received, and I can currently know one individual note on the speakers list, Jeanette Spencers.
Thank you very much. So, thank you for that. This time I would ask speaker, I missed the last name, to come forward. That was what was the name again, Mr. Richardson?
Your worship, I have Jeanette Spencers.
Good. Jeanette Spencer, can you please, just when you come on, identify yourself and just where you live, and then I'll start the timer. You have a maximum of 5 minutes to present.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Jeanette Spencers, and I live at 4110 199A Crescent in Brookswood. At this time, I would like to present my oral argument against the GOP rezoning of 102-4061 200th Street. I presume that you have read the 12 letters and seen the pictures that were sent to you. Let me be clear, I'm not opposed to progress. I have lived here for 41 years and seen the farm beside us turn into a shopping plaza and houses. The problem is traffic. With 4 entry exits and 2 loading docks, cars coming in and out of, and trucks double parked or in no parking zone, all in a small area is a problem. We have seen close calls and accidents in the time we have lived here. When McDonald's applied for a drive-through, it was rejected by council due to safety and traffic. Also, there is not enough parking. We live on a corner lot behind Cedarbrook Square, and the employees are not allowed to park there, but have been told to park in the residential area. Since we are the first house, we get anywhere from 4 to 7 cars parked around our house, some to 10 p.m. Because of COVID-19 restrictions, there is somewhat less traffic and parking since people only go out if they have to. Furthermore, a brewery, distillery, and lounge for 70 people beside a McDonald's where people go with their kids does not fit in the Brookswood Fernridge plan that is supposed to be livable and a safe, family-oriented neighborhood. And where these people are going to park. Thank you for hearing my arguments on the proposal and trust that you make a decision that keeps our neighborhood safe.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I have a question from Councilor Richter, if you don't mind staying on. Councilor Richter.
Yes, hello, Mrs. Spencers. Thank you very much for coming to speak to us tonight. So you're experiencing a problem right now with parking from that mall around your house?
Yes.
And you're thinking that if this application goes through, there'll be even a bigger parking problem. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, and why do you think that that's happening?
Because if they have seating for 70 people, somewhere they have to park. And that lot is not big enough for all these people. And to me, to put a brewery and a lounge beside a McDonald's doesn't seem to be right either. But mostly the traffic in and out, right? Like I said, with COVID-19, it seemed to be quiet the last week or so, especially. But once that is all by, we have all the cars around our house. Yesterday, there were 4 cars. You know, 1 in front, 3 on the sides.
Oh, okay. And
I don't think it is right that we have all these cars around our house.
Okay.
I don't mind so much on the side of the house, but not in front.
Okay. And how long are those cars parked there for?
Full time. They're the employees mostly, so they're 8 or 9 hours a day.
Okay.
And the ones who start at 12, they stay there 10 o'clock till 10 p.m.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
And sometimes we have trucks parked too in front.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming in talking to us tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. No further questions. Thank you. And so I'm going to ask the clerk, are there any other speakers waiting? So there's no point in asking because they're not there. Okay, thank you. I see the proponent is in attendance. Does the proponent wish to speak to address the concerns raised by the delegations?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's on?
Yes,
Great.
it's on. We can hear you. Yeah, thanks.
Perfect. I don't really have any objections to what Ms. Spencer is regarding to. My name is John Collins. I live in Brookswood. I have for almost 13 years in Langley here. Family-friendly area. And the main reason for the rezoning application in the beginning is it's a neighborhood hub. It's a family-friendly facility for family members to meet, join, that kind of thing. So it's not going to be a place where people will park in neighborhood parking spots for 8 and 12 hours at a time. In fact, we encourage the neighbors in the surrounding area to walk to the area like we do on some summer and spring evenings with our kids and our dog. We walk up to the mall, the plaza there. We sometimes get an ice cream. We go into Cedarbrook Bakery. We go over to the 7-Eleven. Sometimes we pop in to pick up some pizza. And it's just nice to have a family-friendly environment in which we can walk to with our family and our neighbors. My parents have done the walk with us many times, just like all the neighbors and their families. And everyone says it would really be nice to have somewhere where they could hang their hat for an hour, have a nice, enjoyable social evening in a non-intimidating environment with a lot of like-minded people and neighbors, like I said, in our community. So myself, I've been here for 13 years with 2 daughters. My 2 partners live in the Langley area as well, and they both got kids under 12 years old. We're family guys that are really trying to put our dream in our neighborhood, if that makes sense. And we've already addressed and met the site plan for parking requirements in the Brookswood Plaza. We don't foresee that being an issue at all. And anyone that has had any objections to what we're trying to do, it has been nothing to do with what we're building, but has everything surrounded around parking. So it leads me to believe there's frustration from a couple of people in the area based on parking stalls or lack thereof. I'm not here to amend or change anything in regards to council's requirements or what the requirements are currently by bylaw standards. I would say that the owners of the mall, which is the Super Save Group, I think would be up to them to police that and not something that we're really too concerned with. As we said earlier, it's really important for us to have a community hub, somewhere that we can be social locally. We don't have to get in cars and drive into Langley City. And I'm sure you guys are well rehearsed in Camp Brewery that opened up last year. There's Trading Post. There's a couple of others. Fantastic facilities. They're in an industrial area that's hard to get to. And that's why we want to have it as a local community hub. So I don't really have too much to say other than being a block watch captain of our neighborhood on 46th Day Avenue. I have a lot of support of a lot of people that can't wait for something to be in our area that we can get behind and support a local small business. Not only that, it will drive hopefully traffic in to support the other small businesses. And once we start seeing a little bit of light at the end of this pandemic, people can get out and be a little bit more social. And we're hoping that that's going to be a benefit to the rest of the community as well. So I don't really have anything else. If anyone's got any questions, I'm definitely all ears.
Councilor Richter.
Yes, well, thank you very much. So it sounds like you're anticipating that most of the clientele that's going to come to your craft pub there is going to be walking clientele. Is that correct?
Well, that's who we're catering to, and that's who we want to be focused on for sure.
Yeah.
But in the craft brewery industry that's been growing in British Columbia, there becomes a bit of a following, and so people do like to go to Port Moody for the day to check out some of the breweries on Brewers Row. People go into East Vancouver to check out other places. So people do have to get around in vehicles, whether it be public transit, which public transit is perfectly positioned right out front of Super Save gas station. Another advantage of being in that little plaza is that we do have access to that. we're hoping that the employees that we hire are also local, and we don't have to worry about them driving as well. So, I mean, we can't control who does travel and who doesn't, but we definitely want to cater towards the locals for sure.
Okay, so in terms of draw of cars, uh, have you got like a certain number of parking stalls assigned to your business?
Yeah, so currently the site parking requirement is for, I believe it's 111 stalls for all of the units in the plaza. There is a surplus of 119 stalls in the plaza, and they break it down. I don't have the plans in front of me for all the other units, but every unit has got a specific amount. So say, for example, in the corner unit there, which is a double unit, the parlor there has got a surplus of 20 spots allocated to them. And from speaking to people there, at no time do they have that many people in their building. We are allocated for 7 spots, but talking to the owners or the landlord, they don't police how many people park and how many people don't. And if people pull into the parlor, then they go down to the sushi place for an hour, or maybe they go into Starbucks across the street, and they don't move the vehicle. They leave it in the same spot. So I'm not sure what the challenges are with that. Like I said earlier, I'm just here to hopefully facilitate and kind of paint a picture of who we are as local people, and we want to start up a local business in our community.
So are you thinking that 7 parking stalls designated is enough for a 70-seat pub?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't foresee it being. It's not going to be 70 seats per se, especially with COVID. That's definitely not going to happen. But we want the max capacity at 70 because we're going to have delivery drivers. We're going to have staff. We're also going to have people coming in and out for pickup. So, for instance, I'm not sure how familiar you are, Counselor, with how the breweries work, but with that lounge endorsement that we've applied for as well, people can come in, enjoy a flight of beer, and then grab a growler or a 4-pack to go. So we're anticipating, like, we've done our due diligence. We've spoken to all the other breweries in the area. We've actually become quite friendly with a lot of them. And one of the things that they suggested once we get our floor plan set up is to have a kind of in and out easy floor plan for people that come to pick up, whether it's a 4-pack of beer or a growler or whatever it is, and go. So those are the people that might be parking, getting off work, grabbing it and leaving, but they wouldn't be sitting there for hours on end. So I'm not too concerned. I know with Ms. Spencer's concern was people parking for 8 to 12 hours. I don't see how we would be effectively anything to do with that, for sure.
Okay, so when customers do come and sit in the pub, how long on average do they sit there?
Well, I just want to be very clear. This is not a pub.
Okay, well, craft brewery.
Yeah. And on average, I would say that people come in anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half. That would probably be an average of a table coming in. Traditional pubs are completely different, and the way the market and the way things have changed and diverse the community's become, people don't go in to a brewery and sit for hours on end drinking beer after beer. Driving laws are as such that it's not permitted, and it's not just frowned upon anymore. It's actually illegal, and people are in there for 1 or 2 beers at a time, and that's kind of the cap, and that's kind of what we look at.
Okay, and my last question is with regards to your employees who do have cars, will they be allowed to park in that parking lot, or will you be requiring them to find street parking?
Well, by the sounds of it, getting them to find street parking is probably not the answer. We would have to work with the landlord, and maybe this sounds like a bigger issue that we're not aware of, and maybe the landlord, quite honestly, isn't aware of, that parking has been an issue. This is one of the things that, we checked off our list a long time ago. According to the site plan parking requirements, there's plenty of space for everyone. And the business that was in that unit before us, I don't know of any problems they ever had before either. So I don't know how many employees they had. I don't know any of that information. All I can go with is what we've been allocated and what we will use. And I guess that would be up to, I'm not even sure who would talk to the landlord about that.
Okay, and how many employees are you anticipating to hire?
It depends on, obviously, with COVID and everything else. Right now, it's not going to be full capacity. I would say anywhere between the 3 owners and possibly 5 to 7 more people, total employees, but would not be there at any given time. I would say that we would probably have 3 to 5 people at any given time working.
Okay. Thank you very much for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Councillor Whitmarsh.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here today. I had a question around. I noticed the hours, and so pretty much every day you're there during the lunch hour time and also the dinner hour. And I'm wondering, just remind me what kind of food you serve. People don't really come there for dinner. Do they just come for snacks and a drink, or how does that work? Because obviously if you're serving dinner, people will be there for longer. So just how does that work with the food?
Yeah, we're not going to be having a full kitchen. Our requirements are to have some snacks and food available. I worked in the food service industry for over 15 years, and I know that food actually loses a lot of money. There's a lot of overhead, takes up a lot of space, cooler space. There are plenty of restaurants in the area, but there aren't anything like what we're offering. And what we're offering is a little bit of a different environment, a more social environment, and an opportunity for the community to gather around and try locally crafted beer by local people. So we won't be offering, like, there's going to be no hood vents or deep fryers or anything like that. We're working with Cedarbrook Bakery at the moment, where we've kind of shelved our menu for that. We're going to wait till all this goes through, but our plan is to offer, we'll have a panini grill and maybe a little tabletop, what's called a kind of combi oven. And so we can offer a couple of flatbreads, maybe a couple of paninis, and then, some fancy favorite items that go along with craft beer, like deep fried pickles, but we wouldn't be deep frying them ourselves. We would get them from the bakery. We're hoping they will put together a cheese and meat board for us. And that's pretty much it. Just a couple of shared plates, a couple of appetizers, nothing more than 8 to 10 items in total.
Okay, so we don't expect people really coming there for lunch or dinner. It's just a snack and a drink.
Correct.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. Thank you.
Councillor Richter, another question.
Yeah, just a follow-up question. You said you're expecting to have somewhere between 3 and 5 people on right now in the current COVID situation. But once COVID's lifted and you're at your full 70-seat capacity, how many employees would you have then?
Well, we're only going to have the 3 owners and our brewmaster. So right now there's 4 of us in total.
Yeah.
We'll have a floor manager that will probably be there during the busy times. And then we'll have 2 to 3 others in total that would work part-time. So at any given time, no matter how busy we are at a capacity we're at, we're probably going to have 5 to 6 employees maximum at any time. And that's even post-COVID.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's more of a walk-up, kind of like brew service, where you walk up to the server and you make your request and you pay for your product and you take it back to your table. There's no table service, so the staff or the employees won't be going back and forth serving drinks or anything like that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't see any further questions. I will, at this point, that closes the public hearing C1. I will ask council if you wish to consider third and final reading tonight. And with that, I just need a motion. First of all, please will consider it. So, council wishes to entertain this tonight. I need a motion. Okay, I don't see anybody jumping to it. I think you want to review some of the submissions that we had, so we can take it to the next meeting. Okay. So with that, I'd ask for a motion to terminate.
Termination.
Council Davis, second by Council Kunst. All those in favor, votes carried. So this will come back on February 8th for consideration.